Oh, perfect. We're recording. Hello, it's me from Stuff. I have the studio lights on, and they are very bright. This room is the room that I intend to eventually record a bunch of stuff in, to use as kind of the video studio. But as you can hear, there's a little bit of a problem with doing that right now. Particularly just this is a high ceiling, and so there's so much. There's so much. I think basically I need to treat all four corners with some traps, and then probably just fully around. And then, I don't know, maybe I can avoid actually trying to treat the ceiling, because there's a vent in the ceiling, and there's a light and a smoke. Actually, I can show you. Yeah, because you're on a tripod now. Actually, I can spin you all the way around the room. You can see there's not in this room. And then, yeah, we have the super bright light that's going to blow out the camera and ruin the lens. And then this other wall. And then over here, this is where I record the podcasty stuff. You probably can't see any of this, right? No, that doesn't help. That doesn't help at all. Yeah. Anyway, that's the actually acoustically treated place. I end up having to close this off when I'm in there, when I'm trying to record audio stuff, just because the echo from this room is so bad that it may ruin stuff in there. Of course, there's no ventilation in there, which is frustrating. Hi, by the way. I don't know if I introduced... Anyway, okay. So I just got... The reason I'm testing this is that I finally just got these blackout curtains. Because all of the... I mean, I know that it's kind of just the hip trend in houses and apartments and stuff to be like, oh, we'll just have bare windows with blinds, and it'll be, sunlight in natural times. Not a fan of sunlight in natural times when I'm trying to make video stuffs, because then the light changes, and then you have continuity problems, or you have to spend a whole bunch of time trying to make something to try and match the cut before, and that whole thing. But anyway, so yeah, you're on the tripod now. There's another light. And I'm trying to figure out exactly how I want to set this space up. Because this is, I don't know, I'm terrible at estimating distances. Do I have, if it's nearby, I'm just going to grab this thing over here. Is it? Yes, perfect, wonderful. Sorry for leaving you alone. But yeah, so I got this thing. This is a laser distance estimator, which is pretty cool. I don't know if it'd probably do damage to the lens if I try and do stuff. But if I go over here, let's see, what does it say? That is 12 feet. So, okay, so it's 12 feet this way, and this is, yeah, like 12 feet. So it's like 12 foot by 12 foot block, which is good. It's probably not enough space, though, if you want to have like we have a foreground and the person, and then the background. Like it'd be difficult to not cast a shadow here. Like, see the shadows. Granted, I haven't set up the lights in any sort of meaningful way. And I'm probably going to end up turning down the lights, but I didn't want to worry. I didn't want to worry about having to try and focus this, because if I turn down the lights, then this aperture's got to go wide open, which means there's a very, very shallow depth of field, which means that I'll be blurry or in focus. Who knows? I don't even know if I'm going to be in focus in this right now, but I don't care. I'm just chatting. Yeah, it's Friday and I've had a rough day. Oh, yeah, no, the whole thing... Yeah, the whole reason that I mentioned that in the first place is I can unlatch you here, and yeah, there's the... Of course, yeah, now the monitor goes all crazy. But there's the ceiling, and there's stuff there, which is the problem. So I can't just be like, oh, well, I'll just put acoustic paneling all over the ceiling. For one thing, there's a limit to how much you should do without paying your landlord a premium. But yeah, so oh man, it's like a flanger or phaser effect. I don't know. Audio mixing is such a weird thing because there are all this terminology. Anyway, I was really hoping that the blackout curtains would cut out a lot of the sound. They did not. I've still got some acoustic paneling that I could put up, and I'm trying to figure out exactly what I want to do with the space. What I'm thinking right now is that I should get some tall bookcases, and I'm not sure if they should pretty much plaster this whole wall. If this wall is kind of the primary recording space, because I want to have some bit of variance between the types of content that I make. So I want to have bookcases for doing the booktube type of stuff. I may I'm thinking maybe if I take kind of that back wall that's shorter between that desk and, so between the closet over here and the entrance to the office over there, which is not the office, but the studio office, that maybe I could just hang a curtain in front of that wall, or at least hang a curtain rod, and then use it for, like, either have, I don't know. Like I could just mount a green screen type of thing there, or a blue screen, or basically just have it be flexible, so I could be like, I'm just going to put whatever up there, and then everything's going to stand. Though I suppose I could also use the black curtains, maybe, right? If I were to zoom in, there we go. That's the zoom. Right. How's this? This isn't flattering. It's also not in focus, which doesn't help. I don't know how focusing works. No, I made it worse. I'm very bad at estimating if I'm not the person standing there. There we go. Hello. I have this monitor, this Chiefy monitor, but it's the camera also highlights, like it puts little green specks on things that are in focus. So it's really weird because all of a sudden my beard turns into these green speckles. There's all sorts of crazy. Anyway. Oh yeah, that's right. Because this camera, the focus changes on zoom. It's not consistent because it's not quite expensive enough. This is a very expensive lens, but not the camera, it's the lens. Anyway, I'm frustrated today because I don't even know why I'm making this video. We're at 7 minutes and I have no idea. I'm frustrated today because I was pulling down the numbers for the podcast because we've done this kind of really big push over the past 2 weeks in particular. We pushed the podcast out to SoundCloud and we pushed the podcast out to YouTube. That involved a whole bunch of work and involved kind of some changes to the way that we structured how we did things. That basically we have to record stuff live now in a way that means we really have to prepare all of our show notes and be prepped and not leave dead air to the extent possible. So, it was a bunch of work to go ahead and get all of the stuff, all of the back content uploaded and there. And it's a bunch of ongoing work. And this week we even live streamed the actual recording because we've been kind of doing these test runs of recording the thing live, and we actually streamed it on Twitch this week, which was great. And we had a couple of people pop in, which was fantastic. But I was looking at kind of the views on this episode for today, and man, it's really frustrating. And this is not to me, it's not to be ungrateful, it's that. But it's frustrating to go, wow, we put a lot more effort in than we had been before, and yet the response is dwindling. Because the numbers don't matter in an absolute sense at all, but it's frustrating to see like the trends do sort of matter, right? Because otherwise, what are you evaluating yourself on? I mean, if you're doing anything that you're doing, you want some sort of feedback loop. Now, that feedback loop can be the response of other people, or it can be something where it's like, oh, I know exactly what went wrong. When I practice a piano piece, for the majority of the time, I hear when the note is wrong, and I go, okay, well, that's the feedback loop. That's the thing that I need to fix. Eventually, I may get to a point where I'm playing something, I'm like, I think it's pretty good, but then I have to someone else listen and be like, oh, dude, that's crap. You got to fix this part because I just don't hear it, and so the feedback loop becomes less helpful. But so with the podcast, the question is, what can we do to be better? And the feedback that we got from people was like, hey, why aren't you on SoundCloud? Why aren't you on these other platforms? I would like to listen to things on these other places. Of course, it did mean changing our content a little bit. It meant, making sure that we were good about having the show notes, and we're pulling out pull quotes. And we've got like an intro section at the beginning where we're billboarding stuff, and yet it's not getting the response that it used to. And you go, okay, well, is that a feedback loop then, right? It's like, well, everything you're doing is wrong. the question in my mind now, I guess I'm just going to start spinning the camera around because, I've got this whole room to talk, and why not? I'm also running these on batteries because I don't have an extension cord, so this may die. I don't know. No, but it's frustrating when you realize that like you're putting in more effort, and the more effort you put in, the response seems to dwindle off. And this is not just the podcast thing. This is the story of a lot of people on YouTube, but it's a story for me for a lot of my stuff. That it's pretty clear that either there's something weird that I'm not accounting for, or I simply don't know where I should be focusing my effort. Man, this audio. I simply don't know where I should be focusing my efforts to make things better. Because if I put more effort and more energy in and the response is worse, well, that means that I'm not directing it in a positive direction, right? Oh, yeah, because there's no light. Yeah, none of the lights are aimed over here. I've still got some stuff on the floor I should clean up over here. But yeah. Oh, man. I am excited to have the camera kind of back up and running. Because you can't see any. I can't show you this part because this thing is mounted in its bracket on the. Well, I suppose I could lift the whole. I'm not going to do that because everything's going to come crashing down if I do that. But so I have this tripod, and it's a cheap tripod, but it's got a nice tripod head on it, which is why I can spin it around and tilt it and stuff. But duct taped to one of the legs of the tripod is a power strip, and so normally from the camera and from the monitor and from the audio receiver deal, and depending, sometimes there might be a shotgun mic and stuff as well. I don't know. But all of that stuff generally has cables that then go down and just kind of stay permanently plugged in to the duct taped outlet, and then I'll. I had in the old place, I had an extension cord that I could just plug the outlet in, plug the power strip in to the outlet. And so it was nice because it basically just had this big cluster thing, so the camera with all of its junk on it. And I could just leave everything plugged in. It's just, okay, we'll just plug in the one bottom thing and everything's great. Of course, I got to get, there's still the lights and everything. But anyway, yeah, so I figured... I've been having a really good week this week, generally speaking. But I don't know, I was just frustrated today. And so, dejected, I got to figure out, like, because I want to do better. That's really all that it is. I want to do better and I want to improve. And so when you see that, man, the indicators say it's getting worse, it seems weird, especially when I feel like the podcast, because of the effort that we've put in, I feel like it's better than it has ever been. Yeah, so I don't know what we're supposed to be doing, and I don't know. I guess it's one thing if you're like, I don't know, you're doing something, you're like, oh, I just don't have the programming skills to do this, or I don't have the math skills to understand this problem. You're like, oh, well, okay, let me go learn that, because there's a structure behind how you learn that. There's really not a structure behind a lot of creative stuff. Even writing, there are people who can tell you that stuff is bad, and there are people who generally can give you some hints as to how you can make something, more marketable or more literary. But even then, it's completely subjective. And particularly with just and then and even then you're still then not talking about this sort of direct to users immediacy thing, which is so weird. So yeah, I'm not sure where I should be focusing my energy, which is frustrating. But I figured, hey, a place to start would be to set up the camera and make this test video, which I don't know. I don't know if this will go up here on the main channel or on the blog channel. Probably the main channel. I don't know. We'll see. But making this test video and just seeing, hey, how does it look, so that I can figure out, like, all right, I've got to get some stuff to put over there. I've got to get some stuff to put over there, and then I've got to try and deaden this sound because it's really bad. Anyway, I hope that you're doing well. it's a Friday evening. It's a weird time to be doing this, but hey, I'm a weird kind of guy. Oh man, yeah. You always want to be constantly improving with whatever you do, and I don't know what the steps are to make that happen. I don't know why this is a big focus today. I've been having like a really, really great week, and then today I woke up, I was like, oh, Kevin, you're terrible. You need to get better. How do you get better? I don't know. Why are you talking to yourself? Okay, just stop making the video, Kevin. Come on, seriously. All right. Cheers. Bye. Go away now. We're done. Spin. Woo. Ha ha. Okay, bye.